Good, happy Sunday afternoon, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this edition of Politics with Riley King. Let's begin. Pappas, Edwards hit campaign trail and push for voters. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
Congressional candidate Eddie Edwards knows with less than 8 weeks until Election Day, there's no time to waste.
We're peaking at the right time, right? So we're getting our voters engaged, we're getting our people engaged. We have a great ticket, great slate of candidates.
Saturday, the Republicans shook hands at the annual Glendy Greek Festival in Manchester.
Many of these voters are very happy with the economy. They're working. Wages are starting to increase. But they're still concerned about the opiate crisis, and they're concerned about our military.
Tuesday's election far exceeded expectations. 100,000 voted in the Republican primary, and a record 126,000 voted in the Democratic primary. The first congressional district has a history of flipping parties.
They're paying attention to their elected representative. They want a certain type of character, a certain type of quality in their elected representative. That's what we hope to bring them.
It says that there are a lot of independent voters that tend to look more at the individual and the issues instead of at the party. And I think at this point in our nation's history, we need checks and balances in Washington.
A member at St. George's, Democrat Chris Pappas, worked the food line at the festival. He says fixing division in America starts with talking about the issues that matter.
We need to see action on health care, on the opioid crisis, on ensuring that we invest in our transportation infrastructure, protecting our environment.
Pappas wants to meet as many people as he can.
And I think we got to make sure that everyone who turned out Tuesday is just as motivated to vote in November, and that we really work to expand the circle to the rest of the state.
Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And voting will be coming in on November. On the record, will Trump be a problem for Charlie Baker? Let's take a listen to this video from WCVB on the record. Let's watch part of the video.
Bay State's governor's race is now set with incumbent Republican Charlie Baker running against Democrat Jay Gonzalez. In Deep Blue, Massachusetts, Republican Baker has been walking that tightrope politically for years now. Question is, can he keep doing it through Election Day?
I think Charlie Baker's doing an excellent job, and I think he appeals broadly to Democrats and Republicans.
He really tries to keep it very balanced. He doesn't do enough to say no against Trump.
That the book is just a piece of fiction.
I honestly didn't know that he had endorsed the Republican ticket up and down. He's tumbling off into the Niagara Falls pit, in my book.
If that's going to be his attitude going forward, for me as a Democrat, that's going to be a detractor.
It's, in my opinion, a really big problem.
What are your thoughts on the race?
I think it's going to be a close one.
Close.
Yes.
And who wins?
Got a coin?
Well, in a few weeks we'll find out who wins, but our OTR
Okay.
political analysts are here this morning, ready to...
There you go on that report and video. If you want to watch this whole video, we will share a link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. Cracking the glass ceiling. A record number of women have won House and Senate primaries. Let's take a listen to this video.
It's been 100 years since we got the right to vote, and we still don't know exactly how to get equal rights.
We all need to flex our political voice in these days when our voices are trying to be silenced. We were really hoping that women wouldn't be treated the way they're being treated. We need some changes to happen now.
Pick the candidates carefully and vote.
That's the most important thing. We need to stand together and act for change now.
I think we need to elect a bunch of women, get this place straightened out.
After the 2016 election, we saw a lot of women become motivated to run for office. And I think it's important to get them and to get their allies and their families and their friends to recognize that this is needed, that women aren't being fairly represented yet.
We've seen a big increase in the number of women participating in the political process. Certainly there have been a lot of active demonstrations.
I think the reason we're seeing women step up and want to run for office is they feel like they can make a difference.
We have this year important elections coming up that can reshape Congress.
We are the majority of the electorate. We have a voice and we should use it.
That's the path to having not just 22 senators in the United States Senate who are women, but getting us closer and closer to that 50-person mark, which would really be reflective of society as a whole.
I think if we're going to have equality for men and women, I think the wage gap is the number one thing that we need to take care of first.
Women are almost half the workforce and receive more college and graduate degrees than men, yet this gap persists.
I think it's very upsetting. As a female business owner, I've had to work, I feel like, twice as hard just to get to where I'm at because I am a woman.
I think we should feel great about what we have achieved and what has been accomplished, but we're still paid 20% less than men on average, and that's not acceptable.
Women should earn the same amount as their male colleagues for doing the same work. What this does is make sure that they can't be fired from their position. If they inquire to one of their colleagues, what it is that their colleague makes.
You pay somebody based on the job that they do, not their gender or their race.
If we have a nucleus of women really from either side of the aisle, you're going to see some real action on this because it's not a conservative or a liberal issue.
When we lift up women, we lift up families, we lift up everybody. It's a long overdue conversation that we're having in this country.
I'm a feminist. I am a father of 3 daughters. I'm a grandfather of 3 granddaughters, and I want them to have equal opportunity.
My hope for sure is that they just never feel held back for their dreams and goals just because they're girls. I want them to feel just as strong and motivated as any boy might feel.
I'm part of a wave of women of all backgrounds, of all different ages, who want to take politics into their own hands, who have so much to offer, and it's really inspiring and exciting to be a part of.
Okay, and there you go on that video. I understand why still a lot of anger over financial crisis, Bank CEO Jamie says. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
Jill, I love playing soccer, but it's just hard to find a good place to play here.
Well, soccer does run in the family. It's very nice to see that Aiden fell in love with soccer as much as I did. Having a new pitch for the community will do wonders. this is just the beginning of something so amazing. I always tell Aiden to dream big, and now with the help of Target, my boy can go as far as he wants to go.
And now to our exclusive interview with CEO Jamie Dimon, the head of JP Morgan Chase. He is one of the last remaining bank CEOs who worked through the 2008 financial crisis, which began with the collapse of Lehman Brothers 10 years ago this weekend. Now, a decade later, could a Wall Street executive like Dimon be the next businessman to make a run for the White House? Our Rebecca Jarvis caught up with him this week in New York.
Why not throw your hat in the ring, Jamie?
I said this before Trump was elected. You know, you're not going to get a wealthy New Yorker elected president. Boy, I was dead wrong. And by the way, this wealthy New Yorker actually earned his money. It wasn't a gift from Daddy.
JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon taking aim at the president, saying he could beat Donald Trump in a potential 2020 matchup.
Because I'm as tough as he is, I'm smarter than he is, I would be fine. Now, you can punch me all you want, it wouldn't work with me. I'd fight right back.
But immediately after, in our exclusive interview, Dimon backpedaled.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said it. And I more out of frustration and a little my own machismo, but I shouldn't have said it. And it also proves I wouldn't be a good politician.
President Trump seemed to agree, firing back on Twitter the next morning. The problem with banker Jamie Dimon running for president is that he doesn't have the aptitude or smarts and is a poor public speaker and nervous mess. Otherwise, he is wonderful. Dimon, who once served on the president's now disbanded Strategy and Policy Forum, says a run for the White House is out of the picture for now.
So you're done with politics?
Yes.
No running for president for you? Ever?
Okay, and there you go on some of that video. If you want to watch the full video, we will share the link with you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And that is it for this edition of Politics with Riley King. I hope you all enjoyed this edition of Politics with Riley King, and I'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics with Riley King. Goodbye, everyone.